It is through getting real with oneself and creating space for a shift in perspective to occur that brings us home to ourselves, where we realize that all of who we are is welcome.
Wow. Wow. It has been some time. It feels really good to be back here in the space. And yeah, after what, like a 3-month hiatus or something? I mean, time. Um, I'm back recording in the same place that I last recorded. Um, except now this apartment is mine. When I was here last, I was visiting Austin and ended up connecting with Haley, who was a guest on the previous episode. I highly recommend checking it out. And I left Austin with something alive in my heart of landing here for a bit and grounding in. Um, as some of you may know or may not know, I have been intentionally traveling over the past about 13 months and came through into 2024 very strongly on my heart to get grounded. And so, yeah, I don't know, I set that intention. And when I was here last, here being Austin, yeah, just, I don't know, things kind of clicked and fell into place. And so that was back in the beginning of April. We're now in mid-June, and here I am. Um, I, yeah, packed up all my stuff and drove cross country, and I've been here for about 2 weeks, and what an incredible journey it's been. You know, I am still processing the fact that I am here, and I think that's why I'm coming on here now and doing things a little bit differently. You know, I typically, for these episodes, um, at least when I do solo episodes, I have an idea or a theme or something I'm going to talk about. And this is me just coming on here, and I kind of just want to riff and talk and share what's alive in me right now. And I have a feeling that's going to be what this looks like moving forward. You know, I have been trying to find the balance between structure and flow, the masculine and the feminine, and showing up in a way that feels good for me. And the past few months I've been very grounded within myself, but physically ungrounded. And so I feel like that's part of why it was very important for me to be grounded more in the physical sense in terms of not traveling as much and giving myself the space to really put my energy and attention into these seeds that I've planted for myself, this podcast and this space being one of them. And so, yeah, I'm honored to be back here and just feel excited and expansive. And, you know, as I reflect back on my last month in New Jersey, it was it was becoming very apparent to me and to those around me that I, yeah, my time there was done. My mom actually, we were having a conversation one day and I was telling her, talking to her, it was my last weekend in New Jersey actually, and just talking to her about the weekend and the things that had been going on. And she was like, honey, it's time for you to go. You know, she was like, I'm not kicking you out of here. And I'm going to miss you so dearly. And it's also time for you to go. You know, this place has served you as it's meant to. And I've watched you sort of revert back into these old patterns and old versions of yourself that aren't you in this present time and don't support you. And yeah, I was sitting with that and I felt that in my heart, and that had been coming up for me in subtle ways, just in my actions and my behaviors and my thoughts. And um I had been feeling the calling on my heart to leave New Jersey for quite some time. And I think the closer it got to me being pushed out of that place, you know, God being like, it's time to go now. Um, these old versions of myself that were so present in the physical space of New Jersey needed to come back up to be fully released, so that when I made the journey to Austin, a lot of that energy was dissolved. And I arrived here a lot more clear and open, and I have so much space and I feel so expansive, and it's such a beautiful thing, and it as I am here, um, I have continued along. I've been doing this, um, doing some writing. Sorry, I was thinking about how I wanted to say it. Um, my friend Holly refers to it as a journal journey. And so it's going back through my old journals and transcribing them and typing them out. And I'm still, I'm like, oh, I wonder why I'm doing it. Like there's a part of me that's like, knows that there is such good content in there. And I am a writer. I express myself through my writing. I express myself through my words. And so I yeah, I'm just doing this journal journey, and I know that there's stuff in there, whether it's a book, whether it is pieces, whether there are pieces of wisdom, I want to say, or things that I've walked through that can be supportive for me to go back on and look for myself and then bring um and share with others. It's a beautiful journey. And I in going back and reflecting and reading, it has been such a beautiful mirror to me of this journey from New Jersey to Austin. Um, Also interesting. I'm gonna go off on a sidebar because this is, whatever. It's just funny that I'm referring to New Jersey as a state, but like I'm in Austin, Texas, but I'm just like Austin, and I feel like people who are from Texas or have lived in Austin for a long time, like I feel like that's just a thing here. Like, oh, I'm from Dallas, or I'm from Austin, even if yeah. Anyway, that was my little tangent. But on my journey to here and arriving here, in the midst of continuing this journal journey and seeing the reflection of myself from a couple of years ago and the things that I was writing about and that were present in my energy. And I repeated myself a lot about the struggles that I was going through and struggling to let things go and release attachments and the things that I was calling in. And I was laughing earlier when when I was transcribing some of the entries, because that version of myself, I could feel how impatient she was and how she wanted I'm saying she, yes, I'm talking about myself, but that version of myself is no longer present. And so that's why I'm saying she. But that version of myself, so it was almost like desperation. And at that point in my life, I needed to really believe that the things that I was writing were going to come and be manifested and magnetized into my life ASAP. Like it needed to happen. Um, because of the things that I had been walking through and the trauma that was coming up. And it was this light and beacon of hope for me. And fast forward, 2 to 3 years, um, because the journals I'm going through are from 2021 and 2022. I feel so deeply grateful and humbled that the things that I have been writing about, while not all of them have been magnetized into my physical reality at present, a lot of it has. To arrive in this space here, just not anything with the external, but internally, the peace that I feel and the love and the joy that I emanate outward. Those past versions of myself, I can feel how proud they are. And I can feel the gratitude, because there was a time where I didn't know that I'd ever arrive here. And so in sharing this and talking about this and going through my journals, there was something that stuck out to me. Um, and I wrote somewhere, the peace is found within the pause, and taking a second to just pause and sit here and process where I've been and where I am now and where I have yet to go. And allowing myself the time and the space and the grace to pause and to just sit in this space and be truly grateful for exactly where I am, because there were versions of myself never would have imagined that I would be here. And it is my reality, and I am here. And I don't mean here as in Austin, like I don't mean here in any sense of the physical word of here. Um, I mean here and here. And for those of you listening, I just gestured to the camera, like here, talking to whoever is listening. And even just if no one's listening, I'm speaking. And yeah, there was a time in my life where this is all I wanted to do. And I'm so grateful to be in this space. And part of that, and part of what's really been coming up in the past couple of weeks that I've been in Austin, is this concept of our shadow and the ways in which our shadows feel like they get a bad rep. I guess it would be a bad rep because it's reputation. They get a bad rep. And for people who are like, what's a shadow? The shadows, the trauma, the pain, the trigger points, those things that exist within us, and some of which were given to us, kind of dumped onto us from birth and through growing up and living in this earth space. The programming and the beliefs that we have taken on that maybe are not ours and don't really align with what is true in our heart and soul. Yeah, the shame and the guilt and the self-doubt and low self-worth and self-deprecation, self-sabotage, all of these different things are shadows. And I've really been sitting with this and going through my journals and seeing how present my shadows were and how they were just asking. And they weren't even asking, they were like begging me to be acknowledged and to be present. And as I'm in the beginning stages of my journal journey, as I continue to go on through the months and the years, I start to see that I create more space for them to exist. And as I create more space for them to exist, I heal more. And in that, I acknowledge the pain that I'm feeling, the almost guttural, heart wrenching pain, the panic, the dread, the sadness, the anger, all of it. I acknowledge it because I didn't for a long time. And I spent so long suppressing those parts of myself, those feelings, and pushing them as far down as I could until I couldn't any longer. And, so I think there are a lot of people out there nowadays where it's like these extremes on the spectrum, right? Like be in the shadow work, do the inner child healing. We're never fully healed. Work, 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 heal, heal, heal. Oh, okay. If you're watching this video, I don't know what that just was, but I did some movement and a thumbs up popped up on the screen. These bubbles with thumbs up popped. So that is, I think, confirmation, some cosmic humor and confirmation that I'm onto something here. But there are these extremes, right? And on one end, like I was saying, it's that we're never fully healed and continue to be in the work, and the triggers are our teachers, and that's all true. There's truth in that, right? And then the other end is the love and the light, and live within the positivity, and you must stay in a positive mindset to attract and manifest the abundance and joy and all of this. And there's truth in both of those things. And for me, this is my opinion, my truth, my perspective. Take what resonates, kick the rest of the curb. If there's truth in both of them, where's the balance? How do I bridge the gap to arrive in this space of balance between the shadow and the light, between the healing and the pain and the joy and the fear and the love, you know? Bridging that gap and coming to a space of balance, and not just trying to positively shift my mindset out of it. You know, an intrusive thought comes up. Oop, okay, let's just think of a positive thought. No, like, yes, there's a lot of power in reframing, and our mindset and the energy that we put forth does reflect the environment and the physical reality around us. Absolutely. And if we bypass the shadows and we bypass the pain, are we really getting to the root of who we are? Are we getting to the root of why we're here, so that we can fully transcend into our most embodied, beautiful, happiest, joyful, blissful, loving self? And I don't mean transcend like leave, astral project somewhere else, but to embody that essence in the human experience. And even when we do that, the shadows are still present. And so I want to share something that I wrote in my journal the other day surrounding this. I started with, no matter who shows up for me, I'm always able to show up for myself. And isn't that a beautiful thing? Don't take it for granted. And you're like, how does that have to even do with the shadows and what you're talking about? And it's like, in showing up for myself, I can address the shadows, and I can sit in the gratitude and of the joy of things around me, And then I go on to talk about this, and I say, one can only distract themselves from an emerging shadow long enough before it becomes all consuming. Through our distractions, we feed the shadows. Sometimes we are aware of what we're doing and do it anyway. And other times, actually, I think there's almost always some level of awareness. To truly excavate the shadows, we must be willing to offer them a seat at our table and allow them to take up space. Welcoming our shadows to the table as a part of ourselves, not a separate entity, opens the door to integration. Through the process of integration, we begin to alchemize the shadow into its counterpart, which I believe is love. This alchemical process can be excruciating at times, but to me, it's always worth it. And so we have this shadow that arises, and we can welcome it, right? We welcome it, which is that awareness piece, bringing it into our conscious mind. Then we have the opportunity to integrate the shadow. Through the integration, we have acceptance. We acknowledge, okay, this shadow is present and I accept that it is here with me. You are here and you are welcome. From that integration space of acceptance and acknowledgement, we can then alchemize the shadow. And by alchemize, I mean we can just take this energy that may feel a bit heavy and dense and maybe a little bit dark, and we can shift that into something that is more of light and of love and of joy through whatever, insert whatever process here. I won't go too deep into that. Maybe that will be another episode. But we can then alchemize the shadow. And I'm still processing this and playing around with what this feels like in my body, and but I feel like then we get to this space of pure unconditional love. And the more that we continue to, okay, the shadow comes up, we welcome it into our awareness, invite it to the table through this integration, and alchemize and change around the energy of it. Every time we do this, we are just stepping further and further into this pure unconditional love. And in my heart of hearts, in the depths of my soul, I feel like that's why we're all here, to bring through this God source energy of unconditional love and radiate that outward. There is so much pain and distress and hopelessness present in the world right now, and I am not minimizing any of that by any means. And doesn't that make our inner healing journeys and what we can do from a personal standpoint of alchemizing this darkness within us, these shadows within us, alchemizing that into love and light, and radiating that out into the world, to the people in our lives, to the cities where we live, and beyond that? I choose to hold on to hope. And the deeper I dive into my shadows, the further I expand outward and the lighter I become. And I don't have it all figured out. I don't know that I ever will. I don't know that I ever want to. I want to be a forever student and continue to learn and process and integrate everything. And to continue to dance with my shadows and invite them to the table and step deeper and deeper into this pure unconditional love that is flowing through me. Yeah. That's what's alive on my heart right now. I thank you for listening, for watching, for being present with me. And I invite you to walk hand in hand with your shadow, allow it to be present, and see what happens. I'm in the process of looking more deeply into this for myself and how I can show up and support others in walking through this. And I'm excited for what's to come. I will share more in divine timing. And yeah, it's a beautiful journey, all of it, every single part of it. And I'm honored to be here. And wherever you're at in the world, I'm sending you love. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here and checking out this week's episode. I am truly grateful for your continued support, which allows this podcast to keep moving forward. If you feel the call, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's deeply appreciated. Until next time, let us continue to hold space for our shadows and allow our light to shine.